This is part 3 of Awaken Your Psychic Powers and Know the Future.
I'm Dane Spots, and my mission is to unleash the most powerful force in the universe, your mind. Meditation, design, what is it?
In part 1 and 2 of this series, we discuss the idea that all of us, all humans, possess an instinct intuition function that gives us the ability to access amazing hidden psi abilities. In part 3, we're going to examine what is possible to achieve with a mind trained to tap into this natural ability, a mind trained in technical remote viewing. Before I get into the details of how you can be trained in this skill, let's break down just what you can do as a skilled viewer. First, and probably the most valuable application, is being able to look over the horizon and see what's coming your way and how to optimize your personal life trajectory. We call this a future trajectory study, or optimum trajectory. And here's how it works. Let's say you're the target. Your life and the direction it can be optimized to take if you decide to jump on that path. What we discovered over the last 40 years of doing this work, conducting optimum trajectories, is that all people are unique. And when we look at someone, that means you in a sea of 8 billion other souls, we're able to grab your specific signal line, your trajectory, and know what is your optimum path. The future is mutable. We can change our future path. And once we uncover what the optimum path is, you can jump onto it. Your life becomes the most fulfilling possible. And optimum means optimum. There's nothing higher. Once we discover what that is, we can zero in on the specifics, like what is your optimum life work, your optimum place to live, your optimum mate, and so on. Using the TRV protocols and the search term Optimum, we're able to land on the specifics of what the target person, you, is doing in the future that brings you the most satisfaction and fulfillment. This is one of the best uses for the TRV technology, and it's highly accurate. After doing thousands of these cases over the decades, the process has been refined to a degree where you really can know what life path you should pursue. This doesn't necessarily mean it's the easiest or makes you the wealthiest. It means the happiest and the most fulfilled, and is most likely tied in to your life mission. What if it's money that you seek? Let's say you want to find out the most profitable business enterprise or money-making activity that you could pursue that would result in you becoming wealthy. This, of course, would be an entirely different target with different results, but is easily accomplished with technical remote viewing. The capabilities of what is possible with TRV is almost limitless, except a viewer can't download numbers or names, meaning you can't predict the lottery. It just won't work. But we can predict things like the outcome of a sporting event, the outcome of a stock move with a known catalyst event like an earnings release, the outcome of an election, the outcome of a horse race, and so on. Any contest, any event that has an outcome that you want to know could be a target. And worked enough times with the TRV protocols, the data can be downloaded. The accuracy rate for such targets? Well, it averages around 85%. It's not perfect because the future is mutable, and the more variables and time in between the data collection process and the event, the predictability accuracy decays. The closer the target sessions occur to where the target event occurs in time, the higher the accuracy. Let's take the Super Bowl, for example, which is an annual event that SciTech TRV viewers work every year and have for the last 25 years. We've never missed predicting the winner. Doing this target is relatively easy to do because the event is so big and filled with interest and novelty, it makes the signal line that the viewer is grabbing very strong. Compare this to TRVing a common, everyday object, like a can of Coca-Cola that someone has placed in a room 1,000 miles away. It's actually very difficult for even the best remote viewer to describe accurately because there's so little novelty and it has no meaning. It's just not a very rich target, and so the signal strength for the viewer is very weak, but it can be done. Some other uses and applications for this skill include finding answers to technology gaps or scientific breakthroughs with a missing puzzle piece, like the GPS systems now used in most automobiles. SciTech uncovered that market technology gap for General Motors in 1991. Some current technology-related projects include anti-aging and stem cell research, the next generation of electric vehicles, agriculture without soil, and so on. But that only scratches the surface of what's possible. TRV can solve medical mysteries, find the optimum treatment cure for diseases that baffle Western medicine, find natural resources like gold or oil. Instead of spending millions relying on geological data alone, a miner or explorer can know the outcome of drilling a hole before spending millions. Legal trouble? Well, knowing the outcome of a criminal or civil case in advance and finding the optimum strategy to settle or win a case that goes to trial. Or in law enforcement matters, to know culpability and find the evidence needed to get a conviction. And perhaps one of the best use cases of all is using TRV to solve the unsolvable, mysteries without any clues or scientific explanations, like the UFO phenomena. Answer questions like, is there an afterlife? Solve enigmas from Egypt's ancient Sphinx or the real purpose of the Great Pyramids, to what really happened at Area 51. Any mystery, any question can now be answered. These are just some of the things that you can do with the skill of technical remote viewing. Once you're trained, you possess an ability very few people can even understand, let alone do. But like any skill, it requires installing it and then practicing it over and over until you become proficient. Like a skilled surgeon that spent years training, or a professional athlete with refined reflexes and the eye and hand coordination, along with the body skills to do what seems like superhuman things. To be good at remote viewing is no different. You must be willing to put in the time and the focus on enough targets and stay in the correct structure of the protocols to make any of this work. How you do that is precisely what I'll show you next in Part 4, along with giving you a quick start lesson where you'll experience firsthand how remote viewing works. We'll be covering that next.